What's up guys, it's Raccoon back with another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at should you get a 2012 MacBook Pro in 2020. Now the first thing to hit your eyes when you see a MacBook is the design, so that's what we're going to be talking about first. The design of the MacBook Pro is basically a thicker version of the current MacBook Pros. It's made out of a high quality aluminium and still feels very premium in the hand. While it may be a little bit thick, it still is pretty good. So this thing still holds up really well in the design department. The only thing that doesn't hold up very well in the design department is the bezels around the display. Which brings me on to the keyboard and trackpad. The keyboard has a decent amount of travel, much more than of the current gen 13-inch MacBook Pros, and it types well and holds up pretty well in general. The one I have does have a sticky space bar, but it can get fixed, and well, it's just a whole lot easier to work on than the current keyboards. Which brings me onto the trackpad, which is also really good. It's basically the same as the current ones, except it's a bit smaller, and the glass surface is just amazing. It's the best trackpad I've used on a laptop by far. So the trackpad and keyboard still hold up very well in 2020. And the I/O on this MacBook also doesn't disappoint. It's got two USB Type A's, an Ethernet port, a Thunderbolt 2 port, a Firewire port, and it's got an SD card slot and a headphone jack. So it's still pretty good, but it doesn't have Thunderbolt 3, which is a bit of a bummer for some, but for me, I just don't have anything that is Thunderbolt 3. But for the average bloke, it's fine. The specs of the machine vary, but the one I have has a Core i7 with a base clock of 2.9 GHz and a boost clock of 3.6 GHz with 2 cores and 4 threads. So it has a Cinebench R20 score of 674, but that was without the laptop plugged in. With the laptop plugged in, I'm sure you could get a fair bit better scores. The only thing that's limiting this laptop in the Cinebench scores is the fact that it thermal throttles quite a bit. It gets to 100 degrees quite easily. So yeah, that's one thing to look out with this laptop. Is if I were to get this laptop in another variation, I would probably get it in an i5 or something, just because it runs very hot. But it only runs hot when you're doing intensive things, so it's still fine. Which brings me on to my last point, and that is the display. The display on this laptop is just horrible. It's not good at all in 2020, and this is the major bottleneck of this computer. It has a 720p display, and you can definitely see the pixels, and it's got massive bezels around it. It's just not a good display. The colors are alright and the viewing angles are okay, but it's just not a good display in general. So if you don't care about the display, then it's fine. So should you get the 2012 MacBook Pro in 2020? Well, if you don't do too many intensive stuff on your MacBook, like Premiere, doing intensive editing, then you should be absolutely fine. And if you don't mind the low resolution display, then this laptop is just perfect for you. But if you want something with modern ports and you want to do intensive stuff and you need a high resolution display with thin bezels, then you'll need to get something more modern. Or you could just go for a Windows machine, which is a lot cheaper. So that's all from me, guys. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you didn't, smash the dislike button. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.